me on camera. Do not put me on social media. So this is live on my YouTube channel. So just so you know. Good morning, everyone. We are just getting ready to start. We're not quite started, but we will in a second. Pa, 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 pa. Hi guys, good morning. Come on in, come on in. Can I print something? Did you guys figure that out? Or if not, it's not the end of the world, but.
I don't think we can print at this point,
okay.
But if you need to have like a script in front of you, you can use my computer.
No, do you have like just some blank sheets of paper then? Because just for them to draw their downtown.
I will get some. I'll be back in like 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I don't need it right away, so. Okay, is this everybody, hopefully? Here, you guys, I'll put this over here so you can see the actual screen. Yeah, that almost shows everything. Put it down a little bit. Good morning, good morning. I know people, were there still people walking up the stairs when you guys came up? Were they kind of still trickling up? Or is that just about everybody?
With something very soon after the stairs, maybe just because they were following the route, so I think.
Is that everybody? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, and unfortunately they didn't put us, I was hoping they would put us a little closer to the Hall of Honors. They made us, well, I didn't take the elevator. They made us get exercise and walk all the way up to the 3rd floor. Okay. And here, if one of you wouldn't mind sharpening some of these, thank you. Thank you. These are my 2 interns for the Historical Society this summer. So Alondra and Michael. So they've been great. Do you guys why don't you introduce yourselves too while we're waiting? I'll give it one more minute.
Oh, this broke, by the way.
The sharpener did?
Yeah, it was already broken. I didn't
Oh no. Oh, okay.
But, no.
Oh, it's just the little container part. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, why don't you guys introduce yourselves, Michael and Alondra, and tell them where you're going to school and everything.
Michael St. Moore. I'm a senior here at Governor State University. Like Ryan said, I'm an
Hi guys.
my 1st semester working with them, and I'll be working with them in the fall as well. And after that, great.
Yeah, so, and what, did you say what university?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, so welcome everybody. So my name is Ryan. I'm with the Harvey Historical Society. I'm the director. I restarted the Historical Society just a few years ago. We had one, but it kind of had died off. Actually, we were the Thornton Township Historical Society, housed at the old Harvey City Hall on 154th Street. And then, like I said, it was just after, I think it was after Mayor Graves' last term, around 2002, 2003, it just the group kind of just spread out and and I'm still trying to track down artifacts and figure out what happened to it. So I tried to intersperse some old Harvey photographs in the presentation there just for fun. But today you are going to put on your urban planner thinking cap. So has anyone taken any classes in urban planning or design or even architecture? Okay. Have you had any experiences? Have you gone to any meetings at your town or in your region as far as, zoning or planning or, anything related to planning in your community? Anybody have? Okay. So yeah, whatever your level of experience is, that is totally fine. But we're going to start talking about designing a walkable downtown. So who am I? I just introduced myself briefly. So 2 ways to find me would be the Harvey Historical Society's Facebook, and then ryans-chicago.com has all my information. So I'll show you that really quickly. I just had, I'm from the south suburbs. My family's been in Harvey for ever and in that area, but When I lived on the north side, I started Ryan's Gay Chicago was my YouTube, and then I just kept it. I kept the domain. I have been covering a lot of history and political corruption and political issues, so I haven't had time to get to the LGBT stuff as much as I would like to. But we did, the interns can tell you, we did just do a great press conference for Pride Month and kind of like anti-bullying last Monday. In Harvey, so that was good. But yeah, so if you go to that website, it has everything, every way to reach me. So it has Facebook, my email, my phone, Facebook, Instagram, my YouTube, which covers local politics, community concerns, real estate stuff. I'm also a broker. I also used to teach French full time, so I taught at Thornton Township High School and Parker Junior High School in Flossmoor. If you know that. Thornton Township High School is in Harvey, if you don't know. And then we have our group here, Harvey Historical Society. So if you go, we do have a web page, but for some reason, it's harveyhistory.org, but for some reason it's not forwarding right now. So we're working on that. And then like Michael wrote a great article on Amanda Berry Smith. So we uploaded that. Alondra's done some work as well. So stay tuned for more about that. But if you do go to the website, like it has a little bit about our history, and it just says, okay, we're not just basically, sorry, that's hard to see. Let me zoom in. So we're not just for preservation, but we want to really build community. And you'll notice I put in there, so celebrate, preserve, and restore, CPR, forever a teacher. I can't help but use acronyms. So bringing life to the community. So our goal is to celebrate, preserve, and restore historic buildings, but also community values and honest government, right? Who cares? People will not care. And as a Southland, we are losing young people by the droves because people want walkable communities. They want diverse communities. They want hip, connected communities. They do not want 1950s, oh, look, Mom, I bought a house in a subdivision near strip malls. Like, congratulations, welcome to 1955. Like, and are there young people that do that? Yeah, but most of our young people, especially if they're college educated and they've had an experience or experiences living in diverse settings, walkable diverse settings, why would they want to come back to a lot of our communities? So this is a very, very urgent time and a huge thing that we do differently at the Harvey Historical Society, because if it's just about old buildings, I guarantee you, you're only going to have a handful of people. They're probably very nice, older people, but it's probably never going to really take off. So it has to be a holistic approach. And then I said, my family's been in Harvey, in the Harvey area since the early 1900s. So between me and my relatives, we went to all the District 205 high schools, Thornton, Thornridge, Thornwood. My mother graduated from Thornton, went to Ascension St. Susanna. My aunt went to St. John and Harvey. And also, if you did know anything about Harvey, Wasso's grocery store, which still bears, the plaza still bears their name at 159th and Wood Street. That was a famous grocery store. That was my great uncle. They don't own it. Like, he passed away, the family sold it. So, because it's kind of embarrassing now, it's just alcohol and like snacks, you know. It's not like, it was a really nice full service, non-chain grocery store. Like, how often do you see that anymore? So, so just so you know, the name is there, but it's not owned by the family anymore. And then I lived in Chicago and Boston, taught French. Now I do real estate, and then, you know, doing this work in Harvey. So just wanted to give you a little intro to me. Okay, so today, why do we want to plan walkable downtowns? We're going to talk about that and figure out why that's important. We're going to use Harvey as an example, and then you're going to design your own downtown. Is anybody a teacher here? Okay, so if you're teachers, good. Very easy to adapt to your students, okay? And I was going to say, I've taught English too. I didn't just teach French, so I know all about, like, you're always looking for quick lessons to do, and this is very, very easy. Do you guys teach social studies, or what do you teach? Social studies? Social studies? Oh.
So everything.
Right, and they would love this because you can tailor it to whatever level, or you know what I mean, level, grade, subject, so perfect. I wanted to start off with some quotes. Oops. If you ever get a chance, I recommend checking out Main Street. Have you guys heard of that organization, Main Street? So they're a nonprofit, but I went to they have a conference every year. Illinois Main Street does a conference. I didn't go to the one last year. I think that was 2023. I forget which one I went to, but it was in Pontiac, Illinois, which is a cute little town. They have like their old village hall. They converted into a museum. So they have actually a really cool war museum that they get people from all over the world to come visit, which I did not know. And I forget, like, I think one's an automobile museum, or it's cute, you know, and they have the courthouse in the town square. It's very, you know, picturesque, small American town. But if you do attend any of these events, it's really cool in how they try to integrate history, preservation, and also businesses, you know, to keep communities alive. So the quote from Ed McMahon, who was their chair emeritus, says, "Downtown's important because it's the heart and soul of any community. If you don't have a healthy downtown, you simply don't have a healthy town." So, and I took this from their website because I believe it's true. Everyone deserves access to a vibrant neighborhood. So thriving local economy, rich in character, inviting public spaces. However, how many people don't have that? In the South End, particularly, how many people don't have that? Strip malls and shopping centers and subdivisions with McMansions do not count. That does not count. I'm really sorry. So if you have a nice house in Orland or Homer Glen or wherever, it's nothing personal. But I'm just saying that it doesn't count. That's not the level that we're looking for of connectedness, right? We don't want to end up like Florida communities where the epitome there are all these, or some in Texas and the South, you know, these gated communities where people have really big, expensive homes. But ask them, do they ever know their neighbors? And a lot of times they don't. So again, it's just a different mindset. You know, we're not saying you're evil if you live in a subdivision, but we're saying as a society, how can we change our thinking to not only save our old buildings, but to literally save the fabric of our towns? This is their approach. So if you check out their website, they have this cute little design here: economic vitality, design, organization, promotion, and then all that together leads to community transformation. So, you know, you've got to have businesses, right? Entrepreneurship, supporting small businesses, your design. See, that's where they have the preservation, which I like, celebrate historic character. So if you ever do go to a Main Street conference, if you're a teacher, they have lots of stuff you could use for your lessons. And they have great, like I remember one, it was this guy from somewhere in Illinois, but the whole session was on getting like appropriate, like historic looking, but you know, I think maybe they were even handmade signs, you know, that hang over, I forget what you call that, but you know when you're walking this way down the street and the sign sticks out and hangs over, like it was just all about that. So I mean, that's the kind of like nerdy level stuff that's really cool that I love, you know. So I really recommend checking out one of their conferences, organization, you know, organizing your community, and then promoting, because as I just covered a huge local issue with Homewood and the village board. I cover a lot of local politics and things too, and many of the residents were justifiably very upset because the village board recently rejected Rabid Brewing, which is a local brewery and very, you know, LGBT embracing. They have Dungeons and Dragons. They're very sort of alternative embracing of a business. So according to the owners, the village had promised them a strip mall on 183rd for 2 years, and then at the last minute reneged and gave it to a corporate owner that wasn't actually going to bring in any stores, but they had more money. So, you know, that's what I mean when I say these sort of things are all intertwined as far as history, what kind of communities do we want, and how can you support local businesses. So I say that, because of I think it was the promotion bit, right? Some of the residents, they were complaining that they're like, even though we have the best downtown, that one of the home residents says she still will talk to people. She has friends that live further west, like in Orland or New Lenox, and they know nothing about, they're like, oh, you don't have anything to do in Homewood, do you? And she's like, have you come? You haven't been to our downtown? And like, yeah, if you want the big box stores, you can shop on Halstead, but sometimes it's just a matter of getting the word out, right? People might not know about your community. I know a gentleman that does a lot of historic preservation work, and he lives in Lockport. And so I've learned, is it Lamont? I always confuse those two. I know that's horrible. No, I think it's Lamont. They've recently revived their downtown, so he was teaching me a lot about them. Harvey is going to be our model here. So Harvey was laid out in the 1890s as an ideal industrial city modeled after Pullman. Do you guys know where Pullman is, or you know what Pullman is, right? So that's very historic, planned company town. Factories were east of just to the west. It was meant to have everything a resident needed within walking distance of the downtown train station. And so here's a flyer advertising the Harvey Land Association, to come, and they had 6 manufactories. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that that's what they used to call it. There's one of the early pictures of one of the downtown blocks. And then I wanted to, before we go on, I wanted to show you guys this really cool site. I had the link in there, and it's on the drive if you guys have access to this. So, and I also wanted to share this with my interns, because I don't think you guys, I don't know if you knew about this, you can tell me. So if you go to basically the U.S. Geological Service, U.S. Geological something, I don't know, I forget what they call themselves exactly, maybe that's it, service, but they have these really cool old maps that you can find. So you can find historic, come on. Oh, okay, that should be it. So you can find old maps. So I wanted to show you an example. So I went to Harvey, okay? For those of you that maybe aren't familiar, if you zoom out a little bit, we're down here, okay? We're in University Park, down this way in Will County. Harvey's basically the heart of Thornton Township and has been historically. So what's really cool is if you see here, they have the old maps. So let's see, this one is, we'll start with 1892. Harvey was founded in 1891, right? So watch this. This is awesome. Once you find this, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this with my students. Look at that. And it goes right over the current map. Were you guys aware of that? Had you ever seen that? Anybody? Okay, so I didn't. I just discovered that preparing this presentation. So it's really cool. And then you can zoom in. So I wanted to show you, like, this was around the time Harvey was first founded. Up here on Lake Calumet, or they called it Calumet Lake, here's Pullman. So see, Pullman is a neighborhood then, okay? So that existed. That was the model factory town at the time. Notice even Roseland didn't really have much development, okay? So all we do not see grid is basically country. And then if you look further down this way, whoop, Riverdale and Dalton had more development than Harvey. Had just been founded. It said Harvey Post Office. It was called South Lawn before it was called Harvey. But you see that? And then if you look further out, how many of you are you guys from the Southland? Raise your hand if you grew up in the Southland. Okay, most of you guys. So if you're from a town that is outside of Blue Island, Harvey, or we should see Chicago Heights. Yeah, there's Chicago. No, that's Thornton. Oh, okay, it just doesn't go down quite as far. Or let's say Chicago Heights, Harvey, and Blue Island were like the big cities, but you see how everything else is basically country. So it's kind of cool. Then if we go a little further along in history, you can see how quickly Harvey grew as well. So how it was laid out was you got the IC tracks on this side, okay? The IC tracks are here. Most of the factories were here, and then the downtown, the post office, everything else was put over here. So you could walk to work, and you had everything you needed, and it was walkable, and it just, was like this cute little perfect American town, automobile. I'll show you one from 1929 really quickly. This one you should get a kick out of, especially if you live or if you grew up in the Southland, because even as recent as then, I wanted to show you how there really was very little. Like one of the sessions today, I know is supposed to be on Homewood and Flossmoor. Very, very sparse settlement even then, okay? So, sorry if this thing ever was this thing.
When did you say the historic map was from?
This is 1929. So they have them all the way from 1880 to 2006. But if you notice the 29 map, you see you have Blue Island up here, you have Harvey, you can see all the development, right? So this is a full-fledged city by now. They called it the Miracle City. It grew a lot overnight. And then if you go further out, look, little sleepy towns like Hazelcrest, East Hazelcrest, Homewood, Flossmoor. So they're there, a lot of them are there, but I mean, it's really country, okay? So that is the history of our region, and that's why I love Harvey, because really studying, Harvey history, studying Southland history. So what urban planners and leaders consider when, oh, there we go. When you're designing a downtown area, you have a lot of these different factors, okay? I put, this is just a pet peeve of mine, brick streets or special walkways to slow traffic, not like the cheap and easy 1955, you know, Park Forest suburban thing is to put in a speed bump. Please don't do that, you know. It's cheap and easy, but you know, it slows down ambulances and emergency vehicles, and it damages your car. There's a lot of reasons not to do that. So now you are going to get to do your own, okay? Did everybody get a piece of paper? You got your papers? Okay, and then we have pencils. Alondra, can you pass out the pencils? So if you guys want to get, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you guys want to do 3 groups of 3? And you guys can work together and for your downtown, okay? So let's see, 1, 2, and then one of you guys, you want to be together, a group, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to design and label your own downtown, okay? You're going to, yeah, we should have time. We have till what, 10 till? You can explain some of your choices to the class, all right? And then each of your downtowns has to contain at least a library, city hall, school, post office, public transit station, restaurant, grocery store, park, outdoor gathering place, apartments, and a mixed-use building. And if you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. This is not an artistic endeavor, okay? Just put a little square or whatever, a little simple shape. This is layout, right? You're urban planners, so you're not, bless you, we're not asking you to be an artist and draw a pretty looking school building. So you can just draw a square or whatever and label it. And then we'll end with a discussion on some Southland towns and how we can improve on or create new walkable downtowns in our region. So my suggestion to you to start is, let me go back to, I'll go back to one of the Harvey maps here. Is if this is really daunting to you, just start with the grid, just like Harvey did. Remember, we looked at the different maps and we saw how it expanded upon there. So you can just start with a grid on your paper. You can literally just draw like some tic-tac-toe lines. That's fine. If you feel like you want to get fancier, you know, be like Flossmoor or Park Forest. If you really like curvy streets, I'm not a big fan, but whatever. But otherwise, just do streets and put your things in there. But it has to have all of those in there. So, for example, like I said, Harvey has its train station here, right? This is the train tracks, and then it's post office, city hall, all these different things were all in this downtown. Let me go back to here so you guys know what to include. All right. So you guys work on that, and I'll come around and help you, and then we'll present. Like I said, don't stress the drawings or anything. I'll give you like maybe 5, 8 minutes, maybe 10 if you need it. So like I said, if you are struggling with the streets, don't waste time on the streets. Just do a tic-tac-toe, okay? But remember, it has to have all those elements, and think about how do you want people to interact. That affects where you're going to put all those amenities for your town. And be prepared to justify your choices. Good. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can all do one if you want, or you can do your own if you want to. It's up to you. Sorry, I had nicer papers with this explanation on it, but the printer was broken this morning. So. But yeah, whatever works for you guys. But yeah, give yourself a street grid first. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have trains. You know, if you feel passionate about maybe helping to design a walkable area for a town that only has buses, that's public transit too. Because some of our towns are not on train lines, right? And that's okay. Okay, now did you start? I would start with your grid. Figure out where you want your basic streets to go. and then plop, from there, plop all your things. Mm-hmm. Good. Good, yes, exactly. See, it's so much easier when you just go. As you're doing this, what do you notice? Like Chicago was platted on the grid system, right? Harvey was too. It really helps, doesn't it, when you're planning? Versus the later curvilinear, like Riverside or Park Forest. The grid is pretty easy to plan on.
Something instead of like a train that just goes one way through.
Maybe across the street, you got the park.
I feel like we need homes here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some
And just label, at least one of, if you have multiple things, so we know what they are. And don't be afraid. You can use your whole paper. Take however much space you want or need. Expand your grid if you need to. I love it. That's, you guys are like moving like that.
No grocery store, yeah. Right, but by the apartments. You want to be
Yeah.
grocery
Okay, so time-wise, you should have at least 5 of those items now. If you haven't, you need to pick up the pace. You should have at least 5 of those items. And if you're running out of room, expand your, like you guys may have to expand your network again, the grid. Okay, good. That should be enough room, I think. Exactly, yes. If you label it, mm-hmm. As you're doing this, you're gonna notice how urban planners have to think, where should we put things, right? Now, this is a simplified activity. We're not getting into zoning details and, there are lots of layers to this, but still, this is what urban planners go through. Oh, okay. Now where are your streets?
Oh,
How do people get around?
I wasn't drawing streets. I was just drawing like general like.
I mean, you can add them in. You don't have to have a grid. They could be windy, but just make sure you have some, just to show how people get around. Oh, and to clarify, a mixed-use building, if you don't know what that is, that means you could easily just have that one building be your apartments. That means there's residential typically on the first floor and commercial above. Why is that important? Or I'm sorry, thank you. Yes, I said it wrong. You're right. And why do we have that to build a walkable downtown? Traditionally, because there's more density, and people don't need to have a car.
Okay, might I suggest we put second grocery store by the downtown?
Ooh, okay. Okay, so I'll give you guys about. Are we about done? Maybe like one more minute. 1 more minute, you think? Remember, it's not about the art. You can just put little squares or whatever. But I do want you to be able to explain to the group why you did what you did. To give us some justification. Did you point out your mixed-use building? Make sure you have at least one of them is a mixed-use property.
All right, we need a mix. Oh, that's true. So.
And then if you want to add other stuff, you can, like you can put in a zoo or you can put in a casino. These are all the questions that your politicians go through.
Right, brewery.
Or a brewery, exactly, yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, about 30 seconds. Oh yeah, dispensary, right. And these are so current, like We're just having an issue in Harvey where the mayor, I'm not against dispensaries, but the mayor approved a dispensary on Halsted. And my issue, and I did a post about last night, was that he bullied the former, because the city owns the building, he bullied the former business and intimidated them to get them out of their lease to then welcome an out-of-towner to bring the dispensary. And so I rose that issue. And I said, okay, well, I'm not against having that as an amenity, but how did you do it? And then they pushed everything through in one meeting. And usually when you bring in something like that, you want to have it like a few month process.
Did those rabbit folks totally lose out on that building then, are there either?
The
Still ongoing, but they lost it.
They were rejected. I was hoping, I was encouraging residents to speak up. Yeah. But no, they vote. And what I don't like is it was a unanimous vote. And that's never good to see because that means that usually that means they met before the meeting. And oftentimes there are arrangements made. So the residents are still not happy. Exactly. Okay, who wants to start? Well, you guys, since you guys finished fast, so okay, you can say where you're at, but just kind of show us your town, give us a general idea of what you were thinking.
We've got the.
Oh, and what's the name? Do you have a name?
No,
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you the name of town.
we'll call it Harvey Light.
Okay.
So we'll have a train station here, and then the train station is gonna be surrounded by like a row of restaurants. There's a mixed-use building next to it across the street. And then we have the school, and then kind of a civic area, so the city hall, the post office and library, and the school group together. Across from that, we have an apartment block. And then on that same kind of zone, we have a grocery. And then a really large park anchored by another mixed-use building.
Very nice. Okay. You hit everything? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Okay, thank you guys. And on a simple grid.
A simple grid, yeah.
Good. Okay. You ladies want to go next?
Alright, so the name of our town is Harvey Reimagined.
Oh, okay.
Right? So our train station or our train will run parallel in between the town. Just outside of the train, we have apartments or houses on both sides, so that way it's easily accessible to people who need to commute for work by train. We also have the mixed use property in that area as well. One of my teammates said that we could use the mixed uses.
Yeah, so that way you have like apartments on top right by the train as well.
What would be on the first floor?
Just like local businesses, like a cafe.
A cafe. Okay.
Right by the train.
Yeah, that's
Coffee, I know you can
great point. Great point.
All right, and so just outside of that space, we talked about a library. We talked about having a park and a recreation center, like the farthest away from the train station for safety. We also talked about placing a school in that area as well. We placed a store on both sides of the train. So basically that's north and south. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to place at least 2 grocery stores, so one on either side of each train. So I live in Southland District, I've been doing research on the Southland, like food access in the Southland, and that's like a food desert, especially University Park.
Mm.
There are no,
Oh, you were the one that the professor mentioned. Okay.
So there are no full market grocery stores in University Park.
Mm.
So I just think it's really important to have as many grocery stores as you possibly can. I mean, foods are a basic necessity and everybody deserves access to that. And especially if there's gonna be like a train rush of splitting.
I was gonna say, and I love see
Grocery store on both sides.
exactly. So you guys are thinking like urban planners. So notice how they thought, okay, maybe we don't want to have people having to cross the railroad tracks. So also I noticed you mentioned the safety issue with where you decided to put the school in the park. So these are just all things that urban planners have to think of. So you guys tell us what did you come up with? Show us your city.
So we kind of made a great city as well. It's Park City.
Oh,
because
okay.
We have a square in the center of the town.
area there.
Oh, okay. It's
And
like
so-
Pontiac
Yes.
or Crown Points.
Yes, so
that-
kind of centered government in this corner, so we have our city hall, and then the post office kind of with the rail around the city.
Oh,
that way we
oh,
can-
I
they
see.
can
It's a
do
little lighter,
couple-
but I see. So the rail line goes like this?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we've got light rail, and we were
Oh,
trying to
okay.
avoid having the railroad split the town, which we were
Ah.
trying to kind of see unforeseen, these kind of potential problems. So we have the light rail in kind of a circle with multiple, like little train stations, so.
Ah,
And we made the entire, inner blocks around the park pedestrian only, so cars.
So cars can just go around the outer square, so then the inner square is all hopefully walkable.
oh, and you do see a lot of that, a lot of cities experimenting with that. Did you just see, there's a newspaper article where they were considering doing that with Michigan Avenue downtown? And then some people said, don't do that. It's going to look just like State Street in the 80s. It's going to ruin it. But these are real world debates that happen all the time.
And then we have the school kind of a block away from the library, and a grocery store next to kind of some of the apartments and mixed-use buildings.
Wow. So you guys really have, it's like a walker's paradise. You just said, cars, get out of here. And that's a big issue as far as, oh, go ahead. No.
Oh, cars can come within a block, so we're trying to make it realistic too. So we don't want to cut off downtown, but we want cars to only come within a block.
And like the stores would need a car to deliver, the cars have to have access for some of the stuff
Right.
to drive, right? A truck would have to drop off mail at the post office, but try to minimize it as much as possible.
In Paris, like I used to teach French, so I felt like Paris has been doing that over the years, probably the past 10 or 20 years. They have more and more of their streets that they're just not allowing cars at all. And that's nothing real new around the world. You've always had cities, especially in Europe, where they did that. Has anyone ever been to, I mean, gosh, even if you go to, I mean, I've been to Quebec City, and well, I should say they do allow cars, but it's very limited because it's an old city with the small cobblestone streets. Has anybody been to one of those older towns where they have like no car zones or limited car zones? Have you seen that? Like, how did that make you feel because remember when we're planning, it's all about people. So how did you feel as a person in like a no car zone with narrow streets, with more density, with all these walkable amenities compared to, let's say Houston or Dallas, like a typical American city? How did that make you feel?
Well, I went to Mexico, and there was like where my parents are from. There's a town, and they have a lot of like cobblestone roads,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not fun to drive through. But if you're not going, like if you're going like far distance outside of a town, it's fine. But it's okay because honestly, everything's pretty close to each other, so you rarely ever have to drive through it. Most of the time you're just walking, and that's really nice. The walking is nice, but if you have to drive through it for like it kind of sucks.
Right. And it's almost, I don't know if anyone's involved in any biking or pedestrian advocacy groups. There's the Active Transportation Alliance, I believe, is the Chicago area group. But yeah, you have some people that are like, they're extremely outspoken. They're like, cars murder people. And da, da. But I see their point, even though that riles a lot of people up who are from the suburbs. And they're like, don't you take away my highways and my parking lots. I need them to survive. But I think those groups are challenging us to reconsider our cities. So my question for you then is, how can we bring some of these ideas to, you have a nice old town like Harvey or Blue Island or something that had this layout that was just naturally meant for pedestrians, and to have all the amenities. How could we bring that to Tinley Park, or I'm trying to think of, even a Moni or a, what's a town that like has even Hazelcrest. Most of our towns, believe it or not, most of them have historic downtowns, even if they're really small. I was going to say Markham, but along 159th Street is historically their little downtown area. It's just that in some cases the roads have been widened so much, and it's just they've been obliterated by horrible car-centric urban planning, so you don't see them. But is anybody from a
I
town?
teach an AP geography class.
Ooh.
So we have to talk about this in urban planning. This is part of our content.
Good.
And so what I do, I use Tinley Park as a case study.
Mm.
It's a neighborhood I live in downtown Tinley that's changed quite a bit, and they're using all of the best practices of urban planning in terms of walkability, density, all that stuff. And the nice thing about it that they've kind of made it an open book. They have so many nice splashy maps and things that I can show my students. And then I can go to the historical maps to show, well, this was a little farming country town, but how does it become a thriving, diverse, walkable downtown that never existed in this area before?
Right.
So that's been useful where, even though I teach in Frankfurt, the kids have a familiarity with Tinley, and they could see, oh yeah, that's where that is, that's where that was, or that's where that used to be.
Right.
So it's been interesting kind of to see these principles being applied.
And they are trying. I give Tinley credit.
The walkability is a really big problem. We have the Oak Park Avenue cuts right through and the Rock Island train line. So those create walkability challenges. And so one of the issues is trying to integrate the two sides of the track. But you guys were mentioning that's not easy, especially for our walkers in the neighborhood.
Right, right. And luckily that also relates to history, because when Harvey was laid out, the Illinois Central was laid out, it was not elevated, but they chose to electrify it and elevate it. That's amazing. Don't you see as urban planners how if you had to design these downtowns, it makes your life a lot easier. Now you still have limited crossings, but at least to have something that's elevated and it's electric, so you have less pollution and you don't have to worry about the safety of the crossing. So I mean, it's a huge advantage. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Matson. Like, did you know Matson has a downtown area? You may not know it because the leaders, I want to wring their little necks sometimes, proverbially. I shouldn't say that because politicians get threatened, but I get frustrated because they often neglect those areas. Or did you know, like I said, Hazel Crest has a downtown area off 170th by the train there. So unfortunately, a lot of our towns do have these areas, but they still will spend more money. Like Matson drives me nuts because they spend millions of dollars on Cicero Avenue. I'm like, welcome to 1983. Like Orland Mall was popular. Dixie Square had just closed. It was like, it's like the shopping malls are on the way out, guys. Have you guys seen articles about like Old Orchard and some of the other shopping centers? They're even adding mixed-use housing there. So they're adding condos, rentals, it's like, wow, if some of the towns that have shopping malls are doing it, like, that this is really an issue.
Well, there's an interesting thing there when you think of the history of some of these towns, especially if you think about the development of Park Forest in the post-war era. That was thinking of some of these same design standards, but in the post-war kind of world.
Yes.
And once the malls started happening, well, Tough Crab Park Forest wasn't going to ever, it was going to have a real, once Lincoln Mall went in, that was going to have a real hard time.
Yes.
Becoming that kind of walkability, livability, because those malls kind of just sucked everything from traditional downtowns.
Right, and what do we do, right? As a region, we still have River Oaks, that area is still doesn't know what to do with itself, Lincoln Mall. So we definitely have issues. I'm still surprised that Orland, I'm half expecting, stores to start leaving Orland, but I guess it's our only big mall left. But I mean, I'm not going to lose any sleep in that. I would rather see more, more walkable developments. But has anybody also seen recently that Orland Park has been sharing that they want to continue putting millions and millions and millions into their 143rd Street metro? This is what gets me about our Harvey politicians. Was always a small farm town like Tinley, and they have already spent millions and millions and millions to try to make a downtown, which they never really had. They had one, but it was really, really small by 143rd Street. So they're still trying, but it's just so funny to see, even that is probably the richest town in the Southland. And I encourage you, just as you go, throughout your day and you read news articles and everything, see all the horrible, horrible ideas. Now, they have a new mayor there, so we'll see how Mayor Dodge does, but the horrible ideas that they throw, and they're like, hey guys, guess what? Let's put in a huge parking lot right by the new downtown area. And you're like, oh my gosh, like really? And Orland has, I mean, they can just like, they pay their own money to do stuff. So they have the money, but if we don't go back to the basics of walkability and good, urban planning, like our older towns, doesn't matter how much money in the world you have. I always tell people, Orland will never have the beautiful natural downtown layout of Harvey. Now, of course, our elected leaders have been horribly corrupt, so it looks pretty bad right now. But we have everything. I just told you, we have the post office, we have our city hall, we have a hospital. What other Southland community has that? Well, Blue Island did, but Blue Island lost their hospital. So right now, what is it? It's Harvey. Well, I was going to say Hammond, but because I was born at St. Margaret's, but they closed that too.
Is some of this going to be assisted by the fact that more and more people work from home? And so
I hope so.
Commuting, right? So the town doesn't become just a place to commute from. These are people who are working, at their desk, online from home. I mean, it accelerated with the pandemic, but it's not going back, I think, to some degree.
Right.
And so, I can see people wanting a walkable downtown because that's where they live and work now. They don't leave for work and come back.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, I hope that helps, but does that make sense though to you guys? Do you see the attractiveness of that? Would you like to see more of that in the Southland? Or are you just like, give me my car?
The problem is the institutionalized racism of all of the developers to put all their focused attention on North Suburban and West Suburban. You go to these thriving suburbs in the West Suburban, DuPage County, North Side, all of these equal distance from the city. But that legacy racism that's just stuck with the development world of the Chicago area.
Yes.
You still see it, and you can't get people to invest in Harvey. You can't get people to invest in Madison. And that's a huge struggle there because they think that there's not the money that is there, right?
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm a realtor, but I have to say, I'm ashamed. It's not just from the 60s and 70s. You have white flight, and you have the pressures of, okay, we're good. The next one is the keynote downstairs at 10:10. Okay, so we're good. I just wanted to make sure. But you see the pressures of white flight, and frankly, developers profit, right? So this is why I covered the recent Homewood thing. I said, residents, wake up. What kind of Homewood do you want? What kind of town do you want? Your politicians serve you. What are you just doing sitting there as a passive, like recipients of whatever no, you tell them what you want. And so many people, it's really hard to get people going. But it's like, no, they serve you. And that board unanimously basically gave a big middle finger to this couple opened a successful brewery. It's been operating for 8 years behind a Home Depot. And they still get a huge crowd. They have all these events. And the village board was basically just like, screw you. So if that can happen in Homewood, it just shows you how we all need to be more involved. And
they were strung along though. They were kind of teased on that building.
That's what they said.
That was a part of the
for
TIF,
2 years.
that whole part of that TIF in Homewood, and it's just
Mhm.
what happened to them.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great example.
So that's why I told them, I'll support you. I'll put you in my YouTube show. I'll give you coverage, but you're the taxpayers. I can support you, but you got to take the lead, Same thing wherever you live. If you have issues, I'll come interview you. I'll cover you. I'll, talk about it. But, ultimately you got to take the lead, wherever we live. So, and then we didn't get to some of the pictures, but basically this was just getting you to think, how can you use this information? And then for the teachers, how you can change it for your students, to be appropriate for your level. But it sounds like you already do that. You're teaching some fun classes. I love that. I'm so jealous. That's great. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. They're supposed to have some snacks, and then I guess 10:10 we're gonna reconvene downstairs, apparently. Oh, and then if you want to see on your way out, I brought an old Fortnite yearbook. Here's one of the classic Harvey history books. Here are some of our petitions to show you some of our activism work. This is a tie from Mark's Toggery, which was the fancy men's dress store that was in downtown Harvey for many years. Yes, we had a men's fashion store. We had ladies' dress stores. This is what I give the kids when I go to events and I do tables. So we just have old houses, and they can pick an old house to save, you know, quote unquote, by coloring it. Because we start young, save those old houses, don't knock them down. Yeah,
Do
look
you
at
have any active preservation ordinances, or is it just volunteer to the president?
Unfortunately, no,
Yeah,
and,
same
and,
thing.
and the mayor is very pro, like, I want to demolish everything I can
Yep.
for as much money as possible.
Exactly.
So it's just, it's sad.
Well, you're doing good things.
Thank you. No,
So
thank you.
what happens when all of the businesses go out of business? Like what's happening there now? Like what?
Yeah. No, exactly. We're trying to,
Like, because it seems, and this is probably personal, but it seems as if it's more so forcing the businesses out.
right, that is what our mayor is doing. He has a clear
Yes.
agenda. They want to force local businesses out so that they can bring out-of-towners in that
Yeah.
pay them money.
So my husband had a shop out there for like 22 years.
Oh, in Harvey?
Yeah, it just,
Oh,
yeah, it just closed because of the fiasco with.
because he's extorting the businesses?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Are you Miss Glasgow?
I am.
So sorry to hear that, though.
Well, I wanted your, I guess I got your business card, or do you have a business card?
Oh, yeah, I can give you one, sure. Or if you just go to Ryan's Gay Chicago, that has all my info too, ryansgaychicago.com, but I can give you a business card as well. Yeah, what do you do? What's your name?
I'm sorry I was late. I had
No,
to
no,
sit
you're
in
fine.
Another session, and then I wanted to get here, but Harvey's my home, and.
Oh, you live there now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Well,
me
I
too.
don't live there now. My
Oh,
mother
okay, but you
lives
did.
there.
Okay.
And so I think I am on your
you.
Facebook page, the Historical Society.
Dawn
Yeah.
Colquitt, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
I'm
I
so
see you
glad.
got, my yearbook.
Oh, really? Oh, that's you.
But anyway, so I just wanted to just connect with you because I wasn't able to come to your session.
Mm.
But I'm also the on a board of the